Go ahead. I have officially hit record. Now, Josh, I have warned you that this intro is going to be a little longer than normal, so if you want to keep your phone out for just another moment, I'll allow it, okay? Ready for this? You going to put your headphones in, or?
I got one in.
Oh, all right. Here it is.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's the thrill of one more kill, the last one to fall. Who never sacrifice their will. Don't ever look back on the world closing in. Be on the attack with your wings on the wind. All the things will begin, and it's sweet.
How was it, Josh? Was that worth it?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Probably the single greatest musical performance to ever exist ever. Would you say that's fair?
Yes.
Yeah. There's actually, so I don't know. I don't think we covered it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it happened, but there's actually a petition out there for them to play Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl halftime show. It literally never happened, but that'd be dope if it did.
As long as I come up through the ground in a bubble.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, Garlic, and there's my other host over there, Josh. Say hi to folks, Josh.
Hi, folks.
Yeah. Never forget to contact us if you'd like to. You can email us at hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com, or you can like our Facebook page and comment there, facebook.com/hoodpod. What's up, Josh?
Facebook page.
Josh. Shh.
Okay.
But yeah, as always, you can check out the segment times in the description below. Sometimes they get formatted weird, sometimes they don't. It depends on your phone, but I always put the segment times down there. If you want to skip around, please do. Sometimes, I mean, there's never going to be a listener that is in all three of our leagues, so you can at least skip over kind of the last parts if you want. But always come back for the outro, because you can hear Josh and I talk just a little bit longer and you get to hear a beautiful song. Thank you, Levi Oki, for providing us with the beautiful art that all you can see right now if you look at your phone screen. Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram is the best way to get a hold of him if you're looking to get some work done, or if you just want to follow a very handsome Mexican who lives in Indiana. He's a beautiful man. I love him very much. Yeah. Oh, I guess this can be part of the intro, part of the chit-chat, whatever you want to call it. Thank Levi's family.
We're making him.
Oh, that's true. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Oki. So, Josh, no one would see this on Twitter because no one follows my Twitter, but Ryan Walters, a friend of ours, he was on the program a couple weeks ago, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan Walters happened to not make the playoffs in his fantasy league this year. Or at least, well, I don't know if he's in multiple leagues or not, but let's just say this man was talking like a sailor on his podcast after losing to you and not making the playoffs.
By 2.5 points or 3 points.
Right. And in that exact same podcast, Walters called me out and called me the king of vulgarity. So my challenge to myself this week is I'm going clean. I'm not going to swear one time. I will insinuate swear words like go tuck yourself in. I will absolutely do that. But actual swear words, I'm going to try very hard. Yeah, I don't know. Swearing comes very natural to me. It's like
5, 4, 3, 2.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Swearing is like second nature to me. I grew up all around it. I play a lot of Xbox, so I've talked a lot. Josh, how are you doing today?
Good.
And that's the pod, folks. Thanks for listening, everybody. Wow.
Yeah.
No,
I'm good. I'm tired. Did a lot today. So
yeah. You had the day off, and you had some fun adventures at the park. You want to talk about that for a moment?
Well, yeah, I had to go. My dog escaped and ended up sneaking out. So Odin, the biggest dog I own, 72-pound Siberian Husky Alaskan Malamute mix, decides to crawl underneath a 6-inch gap in the fence because he thinks he sees something in the weeds. And so I have to hop the fence.
There was something in the weeds.
I'm sure there was. So I have to hop the fence, tackle him, and it wasn't easy, but made it look easier than some of the defenses this season with tackling, and had to corral him. That was a 10-minute process, very stressful. So naturally, stopped by the liquor store, bought some beer, bought some Crown, and yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dogs, I would like to not sincerely, but I'd like to pseudo apologize to your dogs. Last week, for whatever reason, I was very annoyed with them. Didn't help that my pants were covered in fur, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't change before I came here. But pseudo apology to your dogs. But we also got some feedback from some of our podcast listeners that your dogs were quite rambunctious last week with all the squeaky toys and whatnot. And if you're going to try to play that sound clip, there you go. Soundboard is live now if you want to try.
I'm just reading.
Oh,
it's hard.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the squeaky toy, Odin was, I believe, right at my feet with the squeaky toy going last week, and it was something else. So
good for him.
Yeah.
Sup?
You got any non-football news there, Josh? We already talked about dogs a little bit.
No, I'm good.
Sick. I just wanted to mention, for whatever reason, I keep the listeners in the loop of what I'm listening to, or what I'm watching, I should say. And I've started rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! From episode 1. We're on episode 5 right now, so you better be careful, Josh. I got the heart of the cards on my side, and if you're not careful, I'm going to stand near the Shadow Realm boss, so...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Football news. We're not going to go through the NFL page because there's quite a bit that happened this past week. We'll start off with talking about Kareem Hunt,
the newest kicker in the NFL.
That's a little bit too far, guard. You should apologize.
To who?
Good point. Yeah. So apparently Kareem Hunt decided to do something stupid in February, and then lie about it. That's why he was cut, apparently, is he lied about it.
Right.
Now they're finding out there are 2 more incidents, so he's under investigation for 3 assault charges. Good for him. He had a long career of 1 season, so I'm sure he's never going to regret anything he did in the past at all. Side note, how dumb are you to go out
me
and do
or Kareem
that?
Hunt? Oh,
Kareem
okay.
Hunt.
I thought you were asking me for a second. I was like, come on, guy.
How dumb can someone be to do that? Yes, let's go out into a hallway where there are likely security cameras and push somebody, kick a woman, push a woman, grope a woman. I don't even know what the heck he did, but I don't know. You'd think that somebody who, I guess he does get hit repeatedly for a job. You'd think that somebody who makes more money in a week than I do in 5 years would be smart enough to say, hey, you, buddy, go punch her. Don't do that, folks. Don't listen to me. But you'd think that he'd have a fall guy, like Chris Carter said.
I was say, to be clear, you just condone Kareem Hunt not punching the girl, but having his friend punch the girl in his place.
I don't condone hitting women.
Oh, but you used to hit Bradley all the time.
Zing.
Yeah. So that happened. I don't know if you skipped over it on purpose or on accident, or if you just wanted to talk about it later, but obviously big news coming out of the week. McCarthy, gone.
What?
I know. I'm sure people in Wisconsin are just hearing about it because they only get news via sausage.
Podcast.
There you go. Wisconsin is just finding out where
Wisconsin doesn't have a milkman. They have a Leinenkugel sausage man that goes from door to door. So you hear the news about Big Mike? No, what happened?
Greatest coach in NFL history? Yeah, I already heard, boss.
Did he break the record down at the barbecue joint? 16 racks?
Again?
No, he was let go. Aw, shucks. Gives him more time for his barbecuing.
Yeah. Do you want to talk more about McCarthy now, or do you rather talk about it?
We can talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it post Week 13 results then. Anything else happen? Anything else big happen newsworthy that wasn't just like a score thing?
Not that I could think of.
Yeah. Nothing that I could think of either. I'm sure we're missing like 40 things. I never write down notes like I should. But yeah.
We do have this opportunity to discuss, I guess we'll get into it later, when we preview week 14. But I don't know. We're out of order because it's Friday, folks. So we're a couple days behind.
We should have mentioned that. Yeah, it's a special Friday edition of the pod.
And so we had the opportunity to watch the Thursday night game, or in my case, ignore the Thursday night game because Jacksonville, Tennessee. I don't know. It sounds boring to me. Do you know who Derrick Henry is?
Never heard of her.
Apparently, a lot of people are learning that he's on their bench. Only 14% of leagues on ESPN started him last night.
I believe it, dude. Yeah, Derrick Henry. I have him in a couple leagues, or at least one for sure, if I haven't cut him. But yeah, major disappointment throughout the season. Had a big coming out party, but a lot of people are going to pick him up and start him next week, and I'll be back down to 5 points. Yep. Quote for quote. So, does your wife know who Derrick Henry is, Josh? Or should we get into that later?
Yes, we'll get into that later.
Hi, Nikita. I love you.
Love you, baby cakes.
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty decent news section, I'd say, and I'm not even writing down the segment times because I might do some, for like the second or third time ever, I might do some editing to this podcast if I can get some phone conversations flowing, but we'll see.
What?
I'm going to try and go, so you're on the pod, you're in the playoffs in the Redraft League, I'm trying to get Brad and T on the phone, and Nikita would have to be tomorrow, so I'd have to like re-upload the pod and edit it, or I could just re-upload it, but yeah, so we'll see if we can get everybody.
Word up.
Yeah, so if that's all you got for news, Week 13 results, Josh?
Yeah, let's
want to talk them?
I guess we'll start with the Packers game because they lost first.
They sure did.
Great game against Arizona. One of the funnest games I've ever had the opportunity to ignore. It was awful. I can see why. And I called it, didn't I, on the last week's podcast?
Well, you said he'd be fired on Monday.
I thought I said by Monday.
Oh, I guess I don't know. We'd have to go back and check the tape.
And I'm never going to go back and check it.
No.
But I knew I told you he'd be gone if they lost, and sure enough, news came out halftime of the Vikings game, so not much later. He probably just had time to go back to his office and open up his leftover Famous Dave's box. But he's gone. I'm hearing a lot of mixed feelings on it. Granted, they thought he should at least go out the season, but if you think about it, as a head coach, would you really want to continue doing your job for 4 more weeks, 3 more weeks, knowing that you're being replaced? They're bringing guys in the interview. You're, oh, howdy, Mike. Hey, so and so, and just yeah. So I can see that they brought him in. I can picture them bringing him in, sitting him down, telling him to wipe the barbecue sauce off his face, and then saying, or then asking him if he'd like to complete the season knowing that they're going to hire someone else, or if he'd like to just take it now and leave.
Yeah. About the only argument I can make, because I don't think that no one's arguing that McCarthy should stay and be the coach next year. Pretty much all the arguments are being that the Packers organization should have respected him and kept him around until the end of the year. I don't know if that's respect or not. For me, the only deciding factor in that conversation would be if like he got paid, if his checks came out like per game, and if he lost whatever, so many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars by not doing those last 4 games, then I'd be like, maybe give the guy who gave you a Super Bowl the rest of his paychecks.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, if you already know you're going to change scenery next year, why not give yourself an extra 4 or 5 weeks to see what you got in-house? And if that's not good enough, then, obviously hire elsewhere as soon as the season's over. So, but... We have an early dog interruption. So the Packers lost to Arizona. It's actually not a game I got to watch. I was at the state bowling tournament, and I missed it. I did see at one point, I think at one point I saw the TV screen, it said 17-10 Packers, or 17-10 Cardinals, excuse me, and I just about, I don't know, came into myself or had a euphoric moment. It was pretty magical, but... So, yeah, Packers end up losing. Josh, did you actually watch the game? Because I did not get to see a second of it. I don't know.
No, I watched it all. Mason Crosby missed a game-tying field goal at the end.
That's all I know about the game.
Yep. And then, it was. They started off decent and then just struggled the rest of the time. The defense did fine, but offense just had nothing going. It was very stale, boring, and that's one of McCarthy's knocks is that he's a very predictable, very boring play caller, and so they want to bring somebody in who's going to be adaptive to the league. So... we'll hope that's what happens. I doubt Joe Philbin does it because he's 95 years old. But there's some talks of some other guys coming in and coaching, and yeah, we'll talk about that more when we get closer to hiring someone new.
Yeah, or when we find out more. Do you think any chance Rodgers threw the game? Like he
People talk
purposely
about
lost.
that, but it's like his job, his legacy's on the line. I doubt he'd do that. I think he's too arrogant to actually do something like that. He wants to be the best, and so I would hope not. He's said some things, and obviously he's called people out, including himself this week. It sounds like, so who knows? We'll see what happens. Hopefully they can win out and at least get some momentum going to the end of the season and next year.
Right. Yeah, it's always nice to win. I mean, it's not good for your draft.
I don't care about draft stock.
Okay, never mind then.
We've got the Saints first round pick too.
So moving on to the Vikings game, I did get to watch that in full because I recorded it. I didn't get home until like 5:30 or 6. I got home at like whatever. It doesn't matter when I got home. I watched the game on my DVR. Vikings, of course, lost, as I thought they would, and as any smart football fan know they would. I mean, it's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady in December. You're not going to win that game. But I thought we looked good up until the fourth quarter. Like, it was a pretty close game. Or I shouldn't say it was a pretty close game, but we were kind of holding our own. We were hemorrhaging the bleeding, if you will, or we were putting some pressure on the wounds up until the fourth quarter. We just let it fly. We were fighting. I think a lot of Vikings fans would say the deciding factor of the game was Kirk Cousins threw a pick in the end zone. He was trying to get it to Aldrick Robinson. He just slightly underthrew it. It also didn't help that it was in double coverage, but the ball got batted up. Like, Aldrick got his hands on it. The ball got batted up, though, and then it got intercepted by one of the two defenders that were there. So slightly underthrown, not 100% on Cousins' fault, but if he would have put the ball out further, it at least couldn't have got picked if it went incomplete. But I'm not going to hold the game on Cousins. Running game was, again, not perfect, mainly because we didn't play Dalvin Cook in the second half, and at least not very well. Dalvin Cook was having a good first half, and the trend for a lot of coaches this year, really take an efficient running back, they put him on the bench, and they say no. They're like scolding him for doing a good job. Doesn't make sense. So that happened. Vikings lost. Josh, did you get the chance to watch the Vikings-Patriots game or no?
Yeah, I did. Josh Gordon.
He had a touchdown catch and like 2 other receptions.
Josh Gordon
is garbage. Sorry, I was seeing if any of our phone calls were going to happen during the pod, or if I just record them later.
I watched the game. It was, like you said, kind of expected. They gave up on the run really fast. Tom Brady, Josh Gordon.
Julian Edelman or Gronk had a much more significant game than Josh Gordon.
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Did you watch the game, or are you just trying to...
I did, but I don't remember any of it.
Pump the propaganda down my throat?
Trust me, that game was after the Packers game. Do you really think I stayed sober long enough to remember?
Josh, here's another receiver who did better than Josh Gordon. Who? Cordarrelle Patterson.
Did he, though?
He didn't have a touchdown. I would bet Cordarrelle had more yards.
Did he, though?
Are you looking it up right now, or are you just on your phone for fun?
Both.
Oh. Well, I mean, if you're looking it up, I'll wait. If not, we can move on to other notable games.
Did not
have more yards?
He had 5 more yards.
So he had more yards, is what I'm hearing.
But he had less catches and less touchdowns.
So more yards. He was a more efficient receiver. Just didn't get in the end zone.
Not efficient. Got it. No, I don't know. It was like you said, a game that you expected them to lose, but locks and upsets or other notable games, I guess.
Saints Cowboys. That I would say that's the big one. Thursday night, almost 8 days ago now, or exactly 8 days ago now. Saints. I mean, you've been talking up the Cowboys defense. I don't really pay attention, but did you expect a result like that? The Saints being held to 10, or
not really? But the Cowboys defense is pretty solid. They've got some. They're really underrated and who knows, they probably won't be after that week. But they definitely went out there and played. Zeke did. I'm trying to remember. Zeke did fine. But 13-10 is not a high scoring game for anybody. So even the Saints defense, who's been pretty holy all season, get it? It's a joke. There's lots of holes and it's the Saints. They held Dallas to 13. So I don't know. It would have been a good game to watch if you're a defensive-minded individual. I did not watch it. I was at puppy class.
Should probably turn my phone down, huh?
Yeah. I'm trying to. I don't remember anything else from that week.
Buffalo. So my upset pick last week. We'll get into a sec. But my upset pick: Buffalo over Miami. Buffalo almost won. Josh Allen threw kind of a lame duck into the end zone. Charles Clay couldn't come up with it. But that was an exciting game to the end. This looks like a big upset on paper. It really wasn't when you realize Chase Daniel starts. But the Giants beat the Bears 30-27.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your contributing thoughts. Buccaneers beat the Panthers.
Sure did.
Another upset. Jags beat the Colts 6-0.
What?
All right,
That's
Josh.
actually pretty impressive. I watched that game. I was like, geez, is it a soccer match?
Raiders put up 33 on the Chiefs.
Yeah, but we knew the Chiefs' defense was bad.
True. Seahawks rock up 43. Chargers comeback win on Sunday night. Did you watch that game? Were we watching it together?
I watched.
Or were texting back and forth?
We were texting about it. I watched part of it, and then I went to bed. I was tired.
Chargers come back and won. They got you a point in the upset lock, but I won
Damn
$2 off my dad. And then Eagles, Redskins. Not too exciting of a game. Carson Wentz helped me win me a fantasy game. Adrian
McCoy
Peterson,
died.
90-yarder. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You text me, AP, it's unstoppable, 90-yard touchdown run.
I said AD is a stud. I never said unstoppable.
Yes, AD is a stud. He didn't even rush for 100 yards, and he had a 90-yard rush.
The team was behind all game. You're going to give the rock to AD 20 times in the second half when you're down by 14?
Give it to him
guy.
more than 4 times, so he gets that 100 yards.
Yeah, again, I'm not Jay Gruden. You want me to start picking the plays?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, fly me out to DC. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, you and PC Principal can be coaches on the sideline.
Dude, I'm a big fan of PC Principal.
All right.
Anyways.
Locks upsets for last week.
Hot dog.
Well, my lock, Green Bay at Arizona. Wrong. My upset, though, Chargers at Pitt. I got that one right.
You sure did. My lock of last week, Denver over Cincy. That was definitely low-hanging fruit, but Cincy loses because Andy Dalton out for the season. Buffalo over Miami almost happened. Almost doesn't get me any points, though, so I lose that point. Josh and I both take 1 point again. Josh is leading 13 to my 12.5. Eric got both his picks wrong last week. Chicago over New York did not happen as his lock, and Cleveland was not able to upset Houston.
That's because Houston destroyed them.
I don't know about destroyed. It was like 28-13 or something like that.
Their defense had 2 touchdowns.
Okay, well,
4 turnovers. It was a rout.
You say so, guy. Nikita got a lock last week. First time appearance of the locks upsets. Nikita's lock, Seattle over San Fran. Great lock. Like a 20-30 point swing in that game. And then her upset, though, Detroit did not upset the Rams. Shockingly.
It was close after halftime, though. It was a tie game at half.
I mean, at halftime. Was the Cardinals-Packers game close at halftime?
Yeah.
There you go. Stuff happens, guy.
All right.
Who do you got this week?
I got Houston over Indy as my lock.
Okay.
And Chicago over the Rams as my upset.
Whoa. We'll see. I work with a guy who's a big Chicago fan, and we got $5 on the game. So, my lock this week, it really hurts. I think I texted you about it. I did not like any of the locks this week because I was trying to not to repeat all the obvious ones. So my lock this week is Green Bay over Atlanta. Ugh.
Fun stat for you.
Oh.
Green Bay has not won a game in December at Lambeau Field at all this season.
They've played one game?
Did they win?
You're right. They did not.
Exactly. So good luck to you.
Then my upset, I didn't go with Cleveland last week. I'm going with Cleveland this week. Cleveland over Carolina is my upset.
Woo.
So, yeah. Like I said, Josh leads the leaderboard. And, let's preview that week 14, Josh. Let's hear about that Packers game.
Packers play against Atlanta. Atlanta's been struggling. Obviously, they're doing just as bad as Green Bay at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that Philbin's just going to go out there and say, Rodgers, do your thing. Call what you want. I don't care. I need a nap. And then, once we get into stud duds, you'll see my predictions for that. And I think Devontae Adams is going to have a game because Rodgers keeps saying he needs to get the ball to Devontae more. So we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping for a decent game. If they lose, they lose. I don't have any hopes for playoffs. But I'd still like to see him win and get some momentum going, like I mentioned earlier.
Right. Yeah. So I meant to read this earlier. I'm going to read it now, though. So we did get our weekly contribution from one Mr. Eric Landvik, and this is, we'll just read it here verbatim. It starts, a sad reality for the former Packers coach from ESPN. Begin quote. Lambeau has been immortalized as the name of the Packers stadium, while the street in front of the stadium was renamed Lombardi Way for the legendary coach Vince Lombardi. Mike Holmgren has a lengthy way that stretches more than 3 miles through Green Bay and I don't know how to say that word. McCarthy, the only other coach in franchise history to win a championship, was honored with a side street off of Holmgren Way that's all of 3 blocks long and consists of the backside of the Packers practice facility, a few local businesses, and a potty storage. That's it. That's the quote.
Cool story.
Yeah, sounds like something you could come up with, honestly.
Yeah.
The only thing that street needs is a barbecue.
What do you think they're building now?
McCarthy's barbecue. No one eats but me.
McCarthy's Meats.
Yeah. So thank you, Eric, for that lovely contribution. Oh, I don't know why you're barking right now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't, though. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Packers Atlanta game?
Nope.
Cool. Vikings Seattle. Another week, I think the Vikings will lose. We go coast to coast. That's not easy to do. It's December. The team's rocking. I mean, we have been a bounce back team. We usually don't have back-to-back really crappy performances, but I think we will just because, again, it's a road game. It's in Seattle, kind of a hostile environment. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. Kirk Cousins hopefully looks okay. Defense can hopefully get in Russell Wilson's face, although that guy is pretty magical in the backfield, even under pressure. At least getting away. I don't know if he'll be able to throw a lot of touchdowns, but at least avoiding pressure. If Dalvin's doing good, we've got to stay with the run. That's our only chance of winning this one. But we'll see what DiFilippo decides to do. DiFilippo under a lot of heat from the Vikings fans after last week. So, Josh, I don't know if you have any thoughts about DiFilippo himself or the Vikings game, the Vikings-Seattle game, but now's your chance to speak your mind.
No, I mean, DiFilippo is one of those guys that they're saying is the front runner for Green Bay's head coaching job, and pass.
Who's saying that?
That's just Vegas, like 200
really?
to 1 odds and stuff like that, or like 200. I don't know how odds work, but his is like he's like the most likely from Vegas and stuff, and I just pass, hard pass.
Yeah.
But people are also saying they don't know if it's DiFilippo calling the plays and it's just not working, or if Kirk Cousins is making changes at the line of scrimmage and it's on Kirk.
Very possible.
So who knows? Who knows what the actual issue is, but Zimmer's not happy with whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he looks like a strawberry when he's angry.
Yeah. Even Zimmer's been under some heat, at least in the Viking subreddit world, for not. He always seems to like throw passive aggressive comments toward the offensive coordinator, at least in press conferences. But obviously the fans can't see behind the scenes, so they don't know the reality. I don't either. But it seems like he likes to complain a lot about the offense not doing what he wants, but then he never really does anything about it, allegedly. I guess I don't know. At least that's the scuttlebutt I was reading this week. So that's what we got. Other notable games, obviously Thursday night game already happened since it's Friday. Derrick Henry had a historic night in personal terms. Definitely set PRs and yards and touchdowns. So good for Derrick Henry. Jets Bills, no. Browns Panthers should hopefully be exciting.
I don't have the games up, so you're gonna have to keep going.
Lame. The Patriots always seem to lose in Miami every year, so that's good.
That's weird. So
so that game's this week. It's a noon game. Saints Bucks. Saints have 2 losses this year. The one was to Dallas last week, and their other loss was to Tampa Bay in week 1. So we'll see if Tampa Bay can revive some of that magic. Giants Skins should be good. Colts Texans. Bengals Chargers. Broncos 49ers should not be good. Eagles Cowboys should be good.
That one should be good.
Steelers Raiders, no. Lions Cardinals, no. Rams Bears, big one Sunday night. And then Monday night, of course, Vikings Seahawks. So we'll see.
Pew, pew.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about week 14 in the NFL, Josh?
No, let's get on to our... What's the next one? Generalistic fantasy segment?
General fantasy. Boo, 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 boo.
So I did something a little bit different here. Instead of doing top performers of the week, I did top performers of the season for the regular season in our Hidden Oaks League, full point PPR.
Whoa, guy.
And then I highlighted the players that were owned on playoff teams.
All right, well, I appreciate your work. Give me like 30 seconds to go through the actual top performers of the week, and then it's all yours. All right, guy? Is my time on the clock right now, and you're just stalling?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Patrick Mahomes,
18,
of course, on top. Josh
17,
Allen, Russell Wilson,
16,
Derek Carr, and Phillip Rivers. Top
15,
5 for quarterbacks.
14,
Running backs. Tariq
13,
Cohen just was a beast all week. The dude had
11,
34 fantasy
10,
points. Todd Gurley, Christian
9,
McCaffrey, Philip Lindsay, Ezekiel Elliott.
8,
all names you expect up there.
7,
Wide receivers, we got Keenan
6,
Allen, Antonio Brown, Dante Pettis, an
5,
unexpected name, Zay Jones, and then
4,
Golden Tate up there.
3,
Tight ends, we got Travis
2,
Kelce, of course, Jared Cook, Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper, and Eric
All
Ebron.
right, so top 5 regular season performers for each position group. We've got QB Patty Mahomes, 332 points.
Just to be clear, this is, I mean, that won't matter for the quarterbacks, but this is our full PPR ESPN league, I assume?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Patty Mahomes, 332.7 points, owned by Willie, who's in the playoffs. Drew Brees, number 2, with 268. So a big point spread, 65 point, 64 point spread there. Drew Brees, owned by yours truly. Cam Newton, 267, so just under Brees. Big Ben, 266, just under Newton. And then Matt Ryan, 260.7, owned by Nate, Jordan, and Garrett, respectively. None of them made the playoffs. The only running back owned that made the playoffs, Todd Gurley, owned by Brad. Todd Gurley with 329 points on the season. Barkley was second with 303. Chris McCaffrey at 297. Alvin Kamara at 288. And James Conner with 267. All of the top 5 wide receivers / tight ends made the playoffs based on their team. Adam Thielen, number 1, 270.6, owned by T. Devontae Adams, owned by Nikita, 262.5. Tyreek Hill, 261.7, owned by Derek. Antonio Brown, 256, owned by Nikita again. You can see she drafted wide receiver heavy and did well. Michael Thomas, 247, owned by yours truly. Kickers, since kickers matter. Fairbairn.
Can you try that one more time, guy?
Fairbarn, 125, owned by me. Lutz, 124, owned by Willie. Nikita had Myers at 122, and then Justin Tucker at 116. That's Derek. All 4 of them made the playoffs. And then Butker came in 5th with 111. Defenses, Bears up on top by 30 points with 143 total. Texans had 113, owned by Nikita. Ravens, 96, owned by Hammer. And then Rams had 95, owned by Derek. And then the Vikings are free agents with 95 points as well.
Whoa.
Yep. So yeah, that's a little bit of a rundown of the top 5 performers of the season. I think if we went back, I forget, I don't think I put notes down, but if we went back and looked, I know about halfway through the season we had predictions for the final, how it would end up in the final standings. And I had the wide receivers exactly right, but not in that order. I think there was one that was wrong.
Congrats, I guess. I don't know.
I was pretty impressed. I looked back and I was like, people might actually start to think I know what I'm talking about.
Not trying to brag, but
Sure. But yeah, so do we want to get into the results of the Redraft League?
You know what? We're currently in the generalistic fantasy segment, so this is normally where we do studs and duds.
Oh,
or
yeah.
this or
I'm just
that,
scrolling
or
down. Yeah,
the grain of salt.
Well, yeah, let's just, that's what I said. Grain of salt. How'd you do last week?
Well, Josh, my performance last week was a lean and not mean 3-5. I ended up going 50 and 54 all regular season long. Ended up making the playoffs in 4 out of my 8 leagues, though, so that's good. And I made the playoffs in my most expensive league, so that is good as well. I know no one else can see this but Josh, but if you look real quick, I rattled off 4 wins in my most expensive league to make the playoffs, just barely. So that's always nice. Going in hot, and that's my only chance to make back any of my money. I've spent $390 on fantasy this year, and so I'm hoping to get into the championship game of that expensive league just to recuperate my money, because I'm not going to make money in my fantasy league of extraordinary gentlemen, just because my team's not that good. I made the playoffs 6 and 7. The BSB league, the max we could win is $50, and between you and me, that'd be $25.
That's 2 Chipotle burritos.
And then my other league is free, so I'll win exactly $0. So
awkward.
yeah,
I went 5-2 last week. Played spoiler for Walters in the Victoria's Secret League. Sorry, Walters.
Going back for 1 second. You never paid me for the BSB League, so maybe I'll just take all $50 since I paid for the thing that I told you to do like 4 weeks in a row and you never did. So I did it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I beat Walters to squander his playoff hopes. Sorry, Walters, not really. Gave Mr. Foster, who started the season 0-5, 0-4, gave him a playoff spot though. So good job, Foster. You're definitely the one team nobody wanted to see in the playoffs because it's the best. But I got the ace seed in that league. Nikita and I got our ass kicked in her family league. We only put up 75 in a league that we've seen scores over 200 before, in a full point PPR with a bunch of bonuses. But we didn't care because we had locked up that first round bye anyways. We're the number 2 seed. And then I won in random leagues. I have a first round bye in 3 leagues, made the playoffs in 5 of 7. The only ones that I didn't make the playoffs in are Coon Rapids related leagues, so I think they poisoned me. But yeah, so my overall record on the season, 58-33. So I did well over 500. I guess I'll take that.
Yeah, not bad for a white guy, I'd say, for sure.
I'm white?
Last time I checked, Josh.
Okay. But yeah, so that was our grain of salt. Take that how you want it. Going into our
studs and
that's what I was trying to get to. Studs and duds, Gar. How'd you do last week?
I had Justin Jackson as my stud. He was projected 5.8. He got a mean, lean 15.2, so I'd say that's a pretty good stud performance. My dud, however, Patrick Mahomes was anything but a dud. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes just let me down by doing better than he was supposed to. So got plus 9 points on Justin Jackson, got minus 8 on Patrick Mahomes. The week was pretty much a wash. My overall total for the year is 19.6, but I'm doing way better with my studs than with my duds. So yeah.
I'm back to relevancy on both sides. Thank you. Tariq Cohen was my stud last week. He was projected 12.7. As we already mentioned, he scored 34.6, so that's a 21.9 difference. Bring me up to a positive 12.
Okay, Vikings are terrible.
Sorry.
Well, he plays for the Bears.
Are you sure?
Yep. And my dud last week was Kirk Cousins. Now you can push the button.
Which one is it? 0, the period?
Sure, 0 period.
Yeah, okay, Vikings are terrible.
Yes, he is. He was projected 19.1. He scored 8, so a difference of 11.1. And so
Vikings are terrible.
That brings me to a cool 2.9, bringing my total up to 14.8 on the season. We had a couple other fantasy shots or celebrity shots last week. Eric Sequestrian said Aaron Jones was going to be a stud, projected 18.4. He only scored 15.2 for -3. And then he said Kittle was going to be a dud, and he was, but he was projected 13.7. He scored 13. So Eric's still in the lead with 24.2, but it wasn't as good of a week as the previous ones.
Yeah, that's true. And your wife was also celebrity shot last week. Thielen, again, projected as her stud, was not that studly last week. Thielen was projected 21.9, only got 13.8, and her dud was the Packers defense, projected 9, and they were indeed dudley. They only got 2 points. So Nikita remains positive. She's picking her duds way better than her studs. Her overall is 13.2.
She did confide in me that she just said the same as last week because she really didn't care.
But Josh, she commented, and that's more than a lot of people can say. So I appreciate her contribution.
Yeah. Who'd you got this time?
So I literally just picked him. As we mentioned, the Miami always seems to beat New England in Miami once a year. I took Ryan Tannehill as my stud. Currently projected 15.9. I like to see Tanny put up a lot of points on the Patriots. Why not? So we'll see how he does. And I'm taking Austin Eckler as my dud this week. He's projected 19.1, but he did not do that hot last week. So maybe he is better in a complimentary role than he is in the primary role. We'll see. I don't know off the top of my head, but that's what I got. Who do you got, Josh?
I've got Devontae Adams as my stud this week. I already mentioned earlier that I think Philbin's going to tell Rodgers to go out there and just huck that pigskin over that mountain. And so Adams is projected 19.4. I could see him putting up 42.
42, you say?
Well, I'm playing against him in the playoffs, so yeah, he's going to put up 42. And then my dud was Ingram. He's projected 14. He hasn't had that many good weeks this year, and so I can see him getting under that, especially against the Buccaneers offense that is leading the league in passing yards and just overall yards, I believe. So
Yeah, okay, well, the Vikings are terrible.
Every time I hit the period, that's what it happens. I'm sorry. None of the
No,
other
it's
sound
fine.
clips
I
work,
like
but
it.
that one. I'm sure you do.
and so I have Ingram and Adams.
Nice. And we do, again, have a celebrity shot. I just inputted it into our spreadsheet for us, Josh. Eric's, the highest performer in our little dealio we do here. He's got Justin Jackson as a stud, so the guy's just copying what I picked last week. Kind of lame, Eric's, I'm going to be honest, but Justin Jackson should be a great stud pick. We'll see. His projection has doubled. He's projected almost 10 points this week, 9.9, and he's picking Spencer Ware as his dud. He said for Justin Jackson, he already looks far better than Eckler. Even if they split the work, I think Jackson will easily go over the projected points. Dud, Spencer Ware. He just doesn't have the ability to beat Baltimore's run defense, and I think the game will actually be close, so KC won't be able to just run out the clock with him. So we shall see whether those happen or not, but yeah. Josh also a second celebrity shot. He picked Derrick Henry as his stud and the Jags defense as their dud. Josh?
Yeah, no, I put that in just before the game last night, I believe.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because this post was, I scheduled the post to schedule at 8 p.m. So, yeah, just right before the post was scheduled, you commented on it.
Yeah, no, totally.
Proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, no, did I win?
Josh, Derrick Henry got like 80 million points last night.
We're going to get into that now. Actually, well, not right now, but I can't wait to get into
this exact second. Josh, did we do any A's or B's?
No. Did you?
No.
So here, I'll do some real quick. A or B?
B.
A or B?
Or.
A. All right. Hidden Oaks Redraft
Do
League.
I win?
Yeah, you won. Go start your car, drive south for 2 hours, and then tell me what you find. That's your prize.
Do I have to drive straight south, or can I be on a road? Or
You can be on some road.
yeah.
Hidden Oaks Redraft League. Willie beat me. 132.1 to 98.4. Good job, Willie.
Congrats, buddy.
God, just drink your iced tea.
I assumed you would have more to say about your defeat than just 2 sentences, Josh.
No, I wasted all my notes on the playoff matchups.
Okay, so we're going to talk very briefly about what did happen to lead into the playoffs. All right, guy. Nate beats Garrett, as I predicted last week, 128.8 to Garrett's 111.2. I'll also note right now that Nate was the final side bet winner. Nate won the final side bet coffees for closers, having the closest margin of victory. And that was the closest game this week, 128.8 to 111.2, a difference of 17.6. So congrats, Nate, for winning a free $5, but there were no close matchups this week.
Brad stomped Jamie, 137.6 to Jamie's 90.8, as I predicted.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
And so that, the Kareem Hunt news didn't help Jamie's case.
New.
So that got Brad into the playoffs as the 6th seed.
T beats me, as I predicted, 131.2 to my 109.4. My team's a dumpster fire, but it didn't come in dead last. Suck it, Garrett. Yeah.
Derek beat Jordan, 107.7 to Jordan's 82.4. Just to, got him the bye over me by 1 or 2 points.
1 or 2. And then Nikita. Probably, I don't want to say the biggest upset, but the biggest margin of victory. Nikita, we talked about destroy a moment ago. Nikita destroys Hammer. 151, the highest score of the week, 151 to Hammer's measly 86.5. I certainly did not see that coming. I will admit I was wrong last week. I mentioned that only 2 players on her team excited me, and those were certainly her best 2 players. Devonta Adams and Antonio Brown had combined like 50-some points, so good for you, Nikita. You destroyed Hammer, the reigning champ.
We were watching her score go up, and she's sitting there, and she's like, I listened to the pod. Garlic pissed me off because he said I wasn't going to make the playoffs, said my team was bad.
Sorry, I had an opinion.
And I just want to point out, I'm going to toot my own horn here. Nikita was my dark horse into the playoffs like halfway through the season when she started 0-5 or whatever.
It's all true. Credit is deserved,
So
or credit is due.
I knew her wideouts would turn it around, and Russell Wilson has been on fire the last 5-6 weeks or so, and so that got Nikita into the playoffs as a 5 seed. Unfortunately for her, she goes against me.
We'll get into it in a second, but yeah, a little trouble brewing in the Mitchell household all of a sudden. But
I'm
yeah.
sleeping in the basement.
So we had our 4 locks last week. It was Willie, Derek, T, and Josh. I don't remember what the standings were last week, but now it's just as I listed it. Willie, first seed.
But I thought Hammer was a lock last week.
Josh, I had already admitted I was wrong, guy. I'm sorry I had an opinion. Shoot me. Willie number 1, Derek number 2. Those are the buys. T number 3, Josh number 4, Nikita number 5, and Bradster, the Brad Lee. 6.
Just like I predicted last week. Sorry, I'm tooting my horn as much as I can.
Boop, 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 boop. You're not right that often, so you gotta get it in while you can, or what, guy?
Yep.
Yep. So then Hammer and Nate miss it at 6 and 7. Jordan and Jamie, Garlic, or Nate. I want to swear because I'm talking so dumb tonight. But Jordan, Jamie, Garrett, and I were all already out of the playoffs, but that's how we finished in the order I just listed them. So yeah, Derek and Willie got buys this week, Josh, so there's not really much to talk about there. The Brothers Grimm can enjoy some Mai Tais on the beach, but we got some big games coming up.
Yep. I did not do a deep dive. I had deep dives into the actual championship bracket. I did not do deep dives into the consolation bracket, but Nate at the 8 seed plays Hammer at the 7 seed. Jamie, the 10 seed, plays Jordan, the 9 seed, and then Garrett versus Garlic, the 12 and 11 seed.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about consolation? Otherwise, I got something real quick.
Nope.
Okay, so consolation, how it works. So there's going to be 3 matchups every week, all the losing teams. Josh, I'll relate it to you. You'll understand it's just like the Turkey Bowl. If you win, your team goes up. If you lose, you go down. So the final consolation championship is going to be whoever's in the top right or the top consolation game in week 16.
Yeah.
So that's how you win your $20 if anyone's paying close attention. Sometimes the losers don't. Jordan, unlikely to send his lineup just because he gave up after week 5. Because Josh did it. But yeah, so if you're interested in how to win that $20, just win the 3 games. You automatically won the consolation, obviously. But if you're questioning how it works, if you win, you go up, and if you lose, you go down. So if you want to think about it like 3 different fields, that's kind of how it works. You want to be on field 1 in week 3 of the playoffs.
Playoff deep dive. Yeah. So matchup number 1, the marriage melting showdown. That is myself versus my wife, Nikita.
Yeah.
Currently projected 131.4 to Nikita's 113.9. I took a lot of notes on these matchups.
You sure did.
And ignored the rest of the leagues. So sorry, everybody else. But in our defense,
these are the big matchups. These are the ones that matter.
Yeah, these are the ones that matter. Nobody else listens except Nikita and BSB, and BSB can't come and divorce me. So,
are you sure?
Yep. I guess I don't know. How does divorce work? Just kidding.
Josh,
I lived through that myself.
You lived through divorce?
Not mine, my parents.
Oh. Hey, me too.
Yeah.
High five.
So quarterback matchups, I got Breeze at Tampa Bay, and she's got Wilson at Minnesota. Breeze put up 31 points last game versus Tampa Bay. That was week 1. Wilson has put up 18-plus points in the last 8 games. So he's had very consistent, very solid play going against Minnesota, who's proven to be could be picked apart at times, especially in the tough environment. Possibly down Trey Waynes, and Xavier Rhodes was not healthy last week.
No.
Running backs, Sony Michel at Miami and Richard versus Pitt for her. Michel at Miami sucked versus Minnesota last week, but he put up 17 points versus Miami in their last meeting. And that was also his coming out game. I believe the first game he was announced as starter. Jalen Shard for Nikita. Since Martin's banged up with a knee injury, he might see more work. He's also a good pass catching back, and in a PPR league, that's kind of important. RB2s, Wilson Jr. versus Denver. He's played in 2 games all season, and I'm throwing a flyer on him. I'm just going to say, you know what? Come on. Let's try it.
To be clear for the people that don't know, who is Wilson Jr.?
Jeff Wilson Jr. He was a practice squad running back for San Francisco. And I believe they called him up a couple weeks ago after there were some injuries. That is Kaya chewing on a 2x4. And so Breeda's already been ruled out, and so I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is getting that nod, and he caught the ball I think 9 times out of the backfield. Chris Carson for Nikita though, he's scored 12 plus points in the last 3 games. Minnesota's rush defense is pretty solid, but Seattle has a solid rush defense or rush offense. Wide receivers, I'm just going to go over my 3. Hopkins versus Indiana, Humphreys versus New Orleans, and Thomas at Tampa Bay. Hopkins has scored over 14 every week and 33 points at Indy in week 4. Humphreys, last 3 games, he scored 15 or more points, so he's getting a prominent role. And then Thomas at Tampa Bay scored less than 10 the last 2 weeks, but he put up 38 versus Tampa Bay in week 1. Nikita's wideouts. We already talked about Brown and Adams being solid. Brown's at Oakland, Adams versus Atlanta at home. Gallup versus Philly. Brown is going up against the Oakland D, which is not the best.
That's putting it lightly.
And he is a stud wideout, so he's going to score. Adams is the number 2 wide receiver in fantasy for PPR. Hasn't scored less than 16 points yet this year. And then she has Gallup versus Philly, who's replacing Emmanuel Sanders. And last week was his kind of best week, so they're trying to get him involved. For flex, I have Mixon at Los Angeles. He's scored 10 plus points in the last 4 weeks, but he's at LA with no starting quarterback, so yikes. And then she's got Calvin Ridley at Green Bay. And in games with a touchdown, he's scored 16 plus points. Without a touchdown, he hasn't passed 10. So he's kind of that... he's either under 10 or he's going to get a touchdown and get you that 17.
Right.
I won't talk about defense or kickers because who cares?
I mean,
already talked enough.
I'll talk about them. Those are some. I think.
Fine. Buffalo versus New York Jets. They had 13 points at New York in Week 10, and she has Houston versus Indy, and that's the number 2 defense coming off of a huge game last week. But Indy's got a solid Andrew Luck, who sucked last week.
Yeah, I would say he's pretty solid, but yeah, put up 0 points against the Jags.
I've got Farbarner or whatever versus Indy. He's had 11 plus points the last 3 weeks, and he had 21 last week versus Myers at Buffalo, who's the number 3 kicker, and he put up 19 points last week.
So, Josh, you're currently projected to win by about 20. Do you think it'll come out that big of a difference? What's your prediction here on the matchup?
Well, since Adams is my stud, I think he's going to have a better week than what he's projected. I think it's going to be closer. I do hope to come out with a victory just because Gallup I don't have any faith in. Ridley's hit or miss, but he's at Green Bay, so he's going to score 400,000.
400,000.
Richard at Pitt. Pitt's defense is good, or Richard versus Pitt. I don't know. It could go either way. If she wins, I wouldn't be surprised, but she also didn't start Derrick Henry, who's sitting on her bench with a cool 47 or whatever.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, again, looking at Nikita's lineup, I hold my statement from last week. Looking at her starting players, they are not very exciting. She put up 151 points last week, but Brown and Adams are the big names on that team. Wilson would be a distant third, and then Jalen Richard, Chris Carson, Michael Gallup, Calvin Ridley. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Nikita got it done last week, 151, highest score of the week. I can take nothing against her, but looking at the team, it just doesn't excite me. I'm sorry, Nikita. You're going to hate me. You're worth hating me. I'll give the edge to you, Josh, just based on how the lineups look, but I will happily eat my words if I'm wrong again this week. But
all right, sounds good. Moving on, matchup 2. Do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I sure do. But we're going to bring in our lead correspondent.
Hello.
Oh, God.
How we doing, buddy?
Good.
Are you on speakerphone right now? Because you should not be if you are. Hello?
Yo.
All right. So you kind of sound funny. The fans can just deal with it, though. T, you got a big matchup here against Bradley. This is the championship match I predicted. It didn't quite work out that way. But yeah, what are you thinking here? You're currently projected to win 135 to 120. How do you think it's going to go? I'm sure you've been looking at your lineup all week, trying to set it just right. What do you got to say?
Basically, I just hope everyone shows up on game day, because if they don't, I'm kind of SOL here. So we kind of need Ezekiel Elliott to pull up some, get some touchdowns, get some big yards here, and Felipe needs to have some, nice passes and some good teeters. And for the viewers at home, we're talking about touchdowns and, throwing the ball to the right receivers, not, the bad guys. So
it's true.
Hoping for a good victory here.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, you got Rivers against Cincy. That should be that's a great matchup for Rivers. The only thing that'll hurt you is if they go up like 28-0 in the first quarter, and then just slide the rest of the game. That'll suck. Otherwise, that's a great matchup for you. Zeke versus Philly. Zeke's been on a roll. James White versus Miami. James White should hopefully get you a touchdown or a lot of receptions out of the backfield. Feeling that Seattle, that guy can usually be a reception horse. Not always, but we'll see if he turns it on this week. Alshon Jeffrey at Dallas, who knows? But Josh said he's had 20 plus points in the last 3 games, but less than 10 in the rest. So we'll see. Or does that say greater than 10? Or no, it's less than.
He's had 20 plus in just 3 games this season. So I think one was early in the season, one was midway, and then one was a couple weeks ago.
That's what it is. So it's not
he's
the
a
last
boomer
3
bust.
games.
Gamble with him this time.
Gotcha. You got George Kittle, Juju Smith, and then you got Indy at Houston as your defense, and then whatever, Brett Maher as your kicker. Have you looked at the matchup at all, like on Bradley's team? Is there anyone you're scared of on Bradley's team? Otherwise, I can list them real quick, and you can let me know. But
I haven't looked a ton. I know he has Tom Brady, correct?
oh, Brad, of course, has Tom Brady. He's also got LaShawn McCoy, Tariq Cohen, who had a huge week last week. He's got Stephon Diggs. He's got Golden Tate. He's got Taylor Gabriel. He's got Todd Gurley in his flex for whatever reason. He's got the Pitt defense, and he's got Matt Prater as his kicker. I know those were a lot of names. I'm sure Gurley's going to scare you. Anyone else on that list scare you, though, besides Gurley and Brady?
Cohen for sure.
Tariq Cohen?
Yeah, he's a very scary guy. He can do dangerous things. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. So
yeah, and he can catch. It's pretty impressive. So I didn't want this to be a long call, T, but like I said, currently you're projected to win 135 to 120.4. You just want to give us kind of who you think you're going to win, and just kind of, or who you think's going to win, and then kind of give us a rough what you think the final score might be.
Well, all right. But the score will 115-13.
I'm sorry, you're honestly breaking up, T. You said 150 for your team?
Oh no.
Ugh. You're honestly breaking up, T. I'm going to go ahead and end the call because your call's breaking out, but go ahead and text me what you meant to say, and I'll read it in the pod. All right, bud?
That works.
All right, text me real quick. Love you long time. I don't know. We're going through a tunnel right now, I guess. But talk to you later. We'll be on Xbox. We'll play some Fortnite. Love you. Bye. So, yeah, that was T. Like I said, I didn't want to do a long call. But all right, so we heard from T. Let's go ahead and call up Brad real quick, see what he has to say. What is up, my guy?
Not much. How goes it?
Oh, it goes, Brad. It has been a minute since you were on the pod. Have you been on the pod since numero uno?
I have not.
Ooh, have you listened since numero uno?
I listened to the first 2 or 3 for sure.
Nice. All right. So how you doing, boss?
Doing all right. Glad to make it into the playoffs.
Yep. I don't know if it's on our end or it's on your end, but we're having a little chop here. Hopefully it doesn't affect the call too greatly. But yeah, as you mentioned, you're in the playoffs. Big matchup this week. You're playing T. What are your thoughts?
Well, they team in the league. So I got a pretty good squad on that side. I think I'm about 1,200 down. So I'm going to need good outings from a few of my key players and a goose egg or 2 from one of his guys.
Think so? I mean, obviously you're familiar with who's on your team. Who on your team excites you this week? Have you looked at any of the matchups?
A few. LaShawn McCoy's been really spotty all year with producing or not. And it looks like he's got a good matchup against the Jets. So I could use a big week from him as long as the rest of my starters remain fairly consistent. Obviously it would be nice for Stephon Diggs to have a big day and blank Adam Thielen on the other side, but still a Vikes fan, so no feelings hurt there.
Right. Cool. So you got Tom Brady. Obviously, Tom Brady's a stud. Since Jesse's not in this league this year, I think you're the next default for Tom Brady.
Can't confirm, Tom.
How has he performed this year? I guess I haven't been paying attention. Has he been good, bad?
He's been consistent. I mean, Tom Brady winning games. Hasn't put up. I think maybe 1 week he had like 35, but he hasn't put up any gaudy numbers. But he's remained consistent, 20 to 28, 29.
It's true. Have you had a chance to look at T's team at all? I know you've already mentioned Thielen a little bit. Is there anyone else on T's team you've scoped out that you're scared of, or any favorable matchups you might have? Or if you don't know,
Well, I mean, you got to always fear Phillip Rivers, am I right?
oh brother, you are telling me. Big fan of the Rivers.
Yeah, I haven't taken a huge look at T's team, but I mean,
Do you want me
the stats kind of speak for themselves. So,
Do you want me to list his players real quick, or are you not that interested?
Sure, yeah.
All right, he's got Phillip Rivers, like you mentioned. He's got Zeke. He's got James White, Adam Thielen, big Minnesota boy, Jimmy Graham, George Kittle, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then the Colts defense and the Dallas kicker. I doubt you care about those two, but I think we've already talked about the big names, but I don't know if there's anyone else you might be scared of or happy that T's starting.
I mean, James White, could be a double dip, but he's known to make some goal line runs and pick up the touchdowns when it counts. So if they're not throwing the ball, the Patriots will most likely use him to run it in.
Absolutely. So we asked T the same question. Do you want to try and predict kind of who will win and then what might the final score might be? Currently, I'm pretty sure T's projected to win like 135 to 120. That's per ESPN, of course, and what do they know? But do you want to kind of give us what you think the final score is going to be at the end of Monday night?
I think it'll be a tightly contested affair. 120 to 125. I think it'll be within 5 points.
Are you taking yourself to win there, or you're gonna nod out to T?
I think I'll bow out to T.
Ooh, so you're taking T. T goes on to the playoffs and Brad goes home, huh?
Yep.
All right, man. We also have. I'll ask you a quick opinion. We also have the domestic abuse matchup of the week. Josh and Nikita play. Any predictions there?
Oh, gotta go with Nikita.
Oh, absolutely. I feel you, brother. I'm going with Nikita all the way as well.
Yeah, runs the household for sure on fantasy.
Absolutely. Have you taken your survey yet, young man?
No. I was going to get on that tonight.
All right, well, you better. Any final thoughts, trash talk, anything you want to say about the season, about the podcast, about Miko? Anything you want to throw out there?
Nope, just hoping he gets bit by a dog like we said.
Right on, man. Well, you have yourself a lovely evening. I know you're currently in a Fortnite game or a Fortnite party with Kyle and Josh. I'll let you get back to it. Love you, guy.
Love you too. Big
right.
fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, later.
Bye.
And that was Brad. This will be edited into the podcast at some point, probably right after T's call, but yeah, thanks. Josh, any thoughts you want to add here while we're waiting for T's text to come in? Kind of what you might predict for the matchup, who's going to win, kind of what the final points might roughly be?
Well, you see here, Gar, the team that's going to win is a team that scores the most points. And the team that scores the most points is usually the team with the players that do the best. So I think that the winner of this week is going to be whoever gets the most points. Prediction over.
John Madden, is that you?
Brett Favre.
That was impressive. So yeah, but you don't want to give like an actual prediction, or?
I think T's going to win.
Any particular reason for that?
I like Zeke, White, Thielen, Juju. I don't think Diggs is going to do well. I think that Gurley and Cohen are going to be Bradley's really only hope. So if Cohen has a week like he did last week and Gurley has a week like he has the first 13 weeks, then it should be close. But I think T's going to come out with the victory.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, mainly because T had the most points for in the season, and he had like almost, if not 100, if not over 100, almost 100 more points than anyone else in points for. So he's got a pretty solid team. So I'm taking T just based on that. Although Brad did Brad upset Jamie. Jamie had a terrible week, but Brad putting up 130 or whatever it was last week, I thought that was impressive. Todd Gurley obviously helps a lot. But so we got T's text in here. T predicted the final score to be 115.4 to 113.6. So T's thinking both teams are going to underperform on the projections here. For a final score, I'm going to give T 128 to Brad's 107. I don't know what the difference is there, but I think pretty much everyone's collectively agreeing T's going to win here. And then kind of the podcast consensus was that Josh would win as well. So our predictions going into next week is that Josh beats Nikita and T beats Brad, but we will see. Yeah. Any other thoughts you want to throw out there, Josh, before we quit talking about the redraft? All right, then I'll just plug real quick. The survey, we still need a couple people to take the survey. If you haven't and you listen to the podcast, please take the survey. It's literally like 10 questions, please. And yeah, so moving on to the Dynasty League. Well, first of all, I don't think anyone in the Dynasty League even listens, so we're probably going to cut this segment come next year unless we can get more people interested. But it'll give us more time to talk about other things. Anyway,
it's funny because they were the ones that I thought of the podcast for.
Correct. But it turns out the redraft people want to listen, or at least your wife, so we'll go with that. And we got some very unexpected fans from around the globe. Anyways, back to the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League. Josh, you beat Willie 150 to 98.6. I don't know who's on your team. Was it close ever, or did you just crush them?
Well, you see, Gar, I'm the best there ever was. I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence.
Is that true?
No, usually it's urine.
You usually piss urine, but not 100% of the time.
Nope. No, I don't think it was. I mean, I had Devonta Adams and Antonio Brown as well in that league, so they helped Nikita out. They helped me out. I also had Drew Brees, who put up a solid 8 points, I believe.
Ladies.
And so, but then David Johnson, Alvin Kamara. I guess Alvin Kamara didn't do much. David Johnson didn't do much. So, yeah, I don't know how I won.
Yeah, I mean, 150 is still a pretty good score.
I know. I don't know how I got
pretty impressive.
I think I had the Ravens defense. Did they get a touchdown?
Ooh, that's a great question that I can't answer because I don't give a rip about the Ravens defense, but
I scored points.
Yeah. You want to take the next one, guy?
Yeah, so Connor beat Hammer 164.2 to Hammer's 103. Connor did well, as usual. Good for you.
Yeah, most points for in the year. I beat Kevin 166.6. Thank you, Satan, to Kevin's 116.2. Of course, Scarlett goes in, already eliminated for the playoffs with the highest score in week 13. Garrett and I don't know, just going out fighting for no good reason, I suppose. But we get the victory over Kevin by a margin of 40.
Nate beat Jalen 133 to 125.6. The only stinker tinker in both these leagues is if Jalen would have played Dante Pettis over any of his starting wide receivers, he would have won.
Ooh, sorry, Jalen. Nate wins in an upset, at least in my mind. And then finally, jeez. T beats Derek 132.7 to Derek's 100.5. Kind of like I mentioned last week, Derek's in the playoffs and T's eliminated, but Derek has been on the slide in the Dynasty League. It didn't help that Derek had Kareem Hunt, who is now probably never going to play football again. So that does not help his Dynasty squad after he traded for Kareem Hunt earlier this year. But yeah, just goes to show Nate knows more than we do. So way to win that trade, Nate.
Yeah. Our standings on the season: Connor 9-4, Jalen 9-4. They got the buys. Nate's 9-4. So I don't know why you thought that Jalen was such a surprise loss.
Because Jalen's points for is way more than Nate's. Nate has the fewest points for in the playoffs by far.
Oh, okay. Josh, that's me, 4th seed at 8-5. Derek and Willie 7-6. They're in the playoffs. The teams that are not in the playoffs, we got the Gars 6-7. Missed it by this much. T 5-8, Jesse 3-10, and Kevin 2-11.
Yikes. Yeah, so that's how it goes. We did not do the deep dive on the fantasy matchups just because, like I said, I don't think anyone from the Dynasty League listens. Derek or Willie, if you listen, let us know, and we'll continue to cover it if you care at all. Otherwise, yeah, the matchups this week are Josh versus Derek. I have no idea what the projected scores are. We didn't put them in. Josh, I'm going to go ahead and predict you win. just because Derek's team has been sliding.
And he lost Kareem Hunt.
It's true. And then Willie plays Nate. Just based on kind of historical performance, I'm going to take Willie to upset Nate, but who knows? I could definitely eat my words. Willie only put up 98 last week, didn't even break 100, and Willie has Melvin Gordon, so there's definitely a chance that Willie loses as well. So it's kind of a toss-up there. Nate's currently, like I said, the top seed. I'm going to take Willie to upset Nate just based on truthiness. Josh, you have anything you want to add here to either of those matchups for the playoffs?
Well, if you're taking it on truthiness, I'm going to take Nate over Willie.
Oh, just because you don't like my truthiness?
Pharaoh Cooper.
Josh, the guy got injured. What do you want from me?
I mean, he's a kick returner. He's not that hurt. Obviously, he's returning kicks.
Is he returning kicks?
Yeah.
Well, he's hurt earlier in the year, so go tuck yourself in. He came back like week 8 or week 9. Anywho, anything else you want to say about the Dynasty League guy? You're looking at your phone a lot, not paying attention to the podcast, but...
Galaxy question.
Josh, we got like 4 to 6 more podcasts to do. What could you possibly be looking at?
Galaxy Quest.
No, I know, but like, you want to come back and finish strong? We got 1 league to go. Put your phone down.
It is down, technically.
Josh, I will come over there. So help me God.
All right. BSB League. Let's do some recaps.
Yeah, thanks for the enthusiasm, Josh.
BSB Dynasty League. Hidden Oaks. Overdose wins 109.5 to Jonos Burton 75.26. Funny. Did we have Kareem Hunt?
I think we did have Kareem Hunt, Josh.
Who needs him?
Not us.
Yeah. We're going to roll this train all the way to next season's championship game, and then we're going to win again. Have you guys heard of the Patriots? Yeah, we're better. Let's go.
Suck it, Brady and Belichick. Who needs you, Billy B? However, Check My Balls also won. Is his team name Check My Balls? What's his team? I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's balls deep checking. I don't know. Check my balls deeper. It's Check My Balls.
Yeah, that's our lovely commissioner. He beats Fut Buckers. Got to be careful not to swear here. I'm still keeping it clean. 93.24 to 65.2. So I know Fut Buckers was kind of like a win and in situation, but our lovely commissioner shut that down.
Yikes.
This is the part where you talk, guy. Quit looking at your phone.
Cockknocker just squeaked out a win against Zero Girlie Zero Cup, 126.8 to 55.1.
It was a barn burner.
Nobody ever would have guessed that was the outcome.
No, Zero Girlie Zero Cup has been hot all year. We've been talking about what a great team he is. He's a great owner, and we really encourage him. So that's a heartbreaker for the folks at home. Erect Dicker beats Abby Dalton 115 to 96.2. I don't have any matchup notes, but Erect Dicker, you won. I'm pretty sure you're in the playoffs with that, but I don't know. I could scroll down 2 seconds, but
I didn't update that.
Josh!
Touchdown Pandings. Touchdown My Pants beat Victorious Secret 94 to 72.4. I will not be listening to any of your secrets to victory at all, but good showing. I know you joined like 2 weeks ago, so hopefully you stick around.
Yeah.
Hopefully we stick around.
Hopefully we don't get kicked out for being
We're sore
so
losers.
darn good.
We're sore losers, so if we do end up losing a matchup, we probably won't stick around, so keep that in mind.
Just quit the league in a fit of rage.
Yeah, no, I'm known to rage quit.
Yeah. So I should probably go back to the recap thing here. There we go. And then the last matchup of the week, Alex Smith first round beat Emotional Bears fan 79.3 to 69.72. That is actually the closest matchup of the week. And that's a 10-point swing. So not too many close matchups this week in this league either. But Alex Smith first round gets the win over the Emotional Bears fan. Since Josh did not update the standings and did not do next week's matchup. Oh, he did. All right. But just to go over the standings real quick. So in 6th place, barely making the playoffs, was Dalton Abbey. He did not slide out like I predicted last week. In 5th place, Alex Smith first round did make it, winning in. In 4th place, Emotional Bears fan. He was already in as of last week, so his game didn't mean that much. In 3rd place, our lovely commissioner, Check My Balls, Mr. Eric Kesteris.
Equestrian.
In 2nd place, we have Touchdown My Pants. He was 12-1, just like us, but he did not have as many points as us, Josh. We were number 1 in the league.
I bet you he loses his bye week, too.
You think so?
Maybe.
Yeah, but so those are the standings as I listed them, and of course the 3rd and 6th place teams are going to play. So we got Check My Balls playing Dalton Abbey. Check My Balls is currently projected 116 to Dalton Abbey's 111.4. Dalton Abbey already has 420 in his points, 4.20. I don't know who played for him, but they got him 4 points. Good for you, guy. Alex
I think
Smith,
it was Fournette.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not good. Alex Smith first round is playing emotional Bears fan. Alex Smith first round is currently projected to win 100.3 to Bears fans 97.23. That's projected real close. Alex Smith first round already had a player going, only got him 5 points. So yeah, supposed to be some close ones in the playoffs that we don't have to worry about, Josh, because we got the first round bye. Can't wait until we lose next week, right, guy?
Right. No, it's going to be embarrassing. We won't have a podcast next week if we lose this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else you want to say about the BSB League, Josh?
Love you.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you for your participation within the last half an hour of the pod there. That was really nice. Really awesome of you to let me exist in your world. This is our outro, so just thank everyone for listening. Everyone, good luck in the playoffs if you made it. If you didn't, bear with next year. Ryan Walters looking at you.
Hey, Gar, how'd you do in our leagues?
You know, Josh, not
I'm defending
good.
Walters on this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but see, I didn't put any money on whether or not I'd make the playoffs. Walters owes me $10, so boom shakalaka laka. Thanks for having me, Josh. Thank you to our listeners. We got for sure. We got Nikita. We got Ryan. We got Eric. We got Jim Jam 93. Maybe T will listen.
Kai and Odin.
Kai and Odin listen every week. Very loyal listeners. They get our live studio audience. And there might be some other listeners out there, but you don't make yourself known. So feel free to shoot us an email or, hit us up on Facebook. Just let us know you listen because we could call you out or try and tailor the content towards you a little bit better. And again, you can engage the show, hiddenokesoverdose@gmail.com or facebook.com/hoodpod. And yeah, Josh, you have any final thoughts for the folks? Any playoff wishes or trash talk or?
I just killed the Rancor.
What does that even mean?
You know the Rancor in Star Wars?
No, I honestly don't.
When Luke gets trapped in a cage with Jabba the Hutt, the giant monster.
Is that what that thing
That's
is?
a Rancor.
I didn't know it was called. No one would know that it's called the Rancor, Josh.
I did.
You only because it says it on your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I killed it.
Well, that's the podcast. I'll be really interested to see if we can do the podcast in Josh's house next week. Depends on whether he beats his wife or not.
Well, in fantasy. Fantasy football.
I wanted to go out on that note.
My name is not Josh Kareem Hunt Mitchell. It's Josh, I love my wife, Mitchell.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye now. I don't think. Did we have a single squeak on the pod?
This is a tough one to squeak.
Is it?
Try it.
Oh, didn't squeak. I guess it is hard.
I wonder how much of that 2x4 Kai ate. All of it.
That's gonna be a rough poop, isn't it?
Want to know how wood chips are made?
Safety, like that.
All right, I'm gonna go feed them.
Gotcha. I didn't keep track. Do we think I swore inadvertently?
Oh, listen.
How about right now? Fuck! You think that'll count? You think Walters will listen to this point?
Yeah.
Darn it.
That's $20.
I didn't bet anything on it. What, you gonna narc on me? You gonna tattletale guy? Dang it. Walters, if you listen this far, congrats. Probably stop recording now.